I'd like to call the January 14th Plymouth Village Water and Sewer District meeting to order. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think you might have to mute people.
Yeah, I might have to.
There's a mute all button at the bottom.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's get started, please, with motions to approve the meeting minutes and then payroll and manifest.
So moved?
Well,
That's-
Actually, well,
got a little comment on the minutes. What the hell are
Oh, okay,
those?
yes.
Oh, this is it here. I had a couple of them. Treasurer Robert Clay advised that he was ultimately responsible for all district funds and management of the bank accounts. I think you kind of diminish commissioners and inflate the treasurer as he's
He
appointed
didn't
now.
write these.
Yeah, he did, that's what he said. And so, you know, I mean, the treasurer could be fired right tonight, and that's a big difference between us being elected. Anyhow, Chris Wood's valid
So
reason
you're-
for a larger board to
Can we go
sit.
back to this? Can I just be clear? Because if we're making edits, is there a specific edit that you want made to that you're requesting? To the
I
minutes?
think you ought to strike it, because it really isn't quite true, it's kind of a little bit of a,
That's what he said though. Can
Okay.
maybe it's a Treasurer Robert Clay stated
that's all right,
instead of advised? Would that be more amenable?
yeah, no, that's all right. Okay, no,
Well,
I'm good.
Well,
I'll second
well,
it.
hang on,
Yep,
hang
I'm all-
on, hang on.
What?
So if you want changes made, you should make them on, I mean, typically, it is not unusual for me to email and reply to Kim when meeting minutes like this come in to us by email
I understand.
and say, I
Like,
request a slight change.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why you can't mark, if you have some suggestions,
I
make
know.
those,
It's all about, that's fine.
okay?
Yep.
You sure?
Yep.
All right, well then, motion to approve the minutes for
Yep,
December
I'll make
10th.
a motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, likewise payroll and manifests, motion please.
Yep,
We've
make a
already
motion to approve the payroll and bill manifest.
Second?
All those in favor there?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to new business. Do we want to get right into the public hearing?
The
Yes.
first one?
Yeah, so that we will. So this is our, grab everything here. So pursuant to RSA 32:5, a public hearing will be held at the district office, 227 North Main Street on January 14th at 5 PM, here it is 5:05, to discuss the 2025 proposed budget and rates. So at 5:05, I open this hearing.
Where do we advertise this?
On the
I got
website,
I got the record Enterprise, and there wasn't anything in it this
there
week.
was last week.
Yep.
though.
You
There
ran it
was.
for 1 week last week?
Yep. And the
And-
website here at the office, it's posted, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, by opening the hearing, we have 7 warrant articles that we're proposing, and I'm sure Jason can speak in detail, but I'll just list them off.
There's a print handout.
Yeah. Right, we should each get one of those.
Yeah.
But just really, very simply, the Highland Street Reservoir shortfall, 6.3 million, the 2.5 million gallon water storage tank for $7 million, water well number 1 replacement for $1 million, sewage treatment plant master plan, 315,000, the sewer electric HVAC upgrades, 3.5 million, sewer dewatering, sludge drying, trailer bay improvements, $7 million, and then lastly, The sewer influent pump station and headworks upgrades, also for $7 million. Importantly, I think we need to state that we are looking, we bring all of these warrant articles forward so that because we must in order to obtain funding, both at the state and federal level. So this does not necessarily mean that we are moving forward with these, it's just so that we have the opportunity to pursue them. I guess, yes.
Okay, I wish I kind of stated that clearly, that this is, that this is a, what do you call it? You know, it's an enabling thing that we do, to be able to apply for these, and we don't know how much is gonna be grant, but it should be subject to some sort of a grant proportion. It's,
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the actual wording of the articles, Kim, is subject to DRA approval, correct? So
That's right,
So
yeah.
so that's pretty rigidly stipulated, how this is exactly worded.
okay.
I mean, there is general wording there that says, for example, with Article 2, this appropriation will potentially be financed through a loan and grant package through the New Hampshire Drinking Water and Groundwater Trust Fund, et cetera.
One
But-
of the issues right now is we don't know those figures yet.
Right,
And so
yeah.
in order to
Right.
move forward, to even ask for the funding,
Yeah.
we have to have something down in a warrant article.
Right.
Right,
Right, and that was advised by DES not to pin ourselves by putting limits on it.
Yeah.
And to make it more broadly, so that we can,
Right, so that's to our advantage, yes.
yes. Right, it's important that the voter recognizes and the person living in the village district understand that we are pursuing lots of funds for this. Do we have any
Well-
information on our track record with prior warrant articles and the percent that we've gotten funded for them? Cause that might be helpful for people to kinda hear about what
yeah,
we've done on
we
past projects.
typically have seen over the last two funding packages, first the rural development funding package back in 2018, we anticipated about 25% grant with that funding package, and we ended up getting closer to 40% grant. The second funding package we received back in 2022 was for the ARPA funding, and some of those projects we received 50 to 60% grant on. Most recently, we received an SRF loan for a roadway project at 70% grant back in 2023.
That's great.
So there's been a lot of funding over the years that has been favorable to providing grant. Some of those options are going away now in the next few years, so we're looking to really position ourselves to take advantage of any grant that's out there, and that's one of the key goals, like Chris said, to move these projects forward and make them affordable for our community, is to capture that grant, and this is the way that's recommended by DES and the other funding agencies to set ourselves up to be in that position too.
You have a higher likelihood
Yeah.
of getting approved if you already have a warrant.
I mean, we know that Jason does great, and he's done so well, you too, Kim, with getting all the money that we've gotten. And it's been really big numbers, and it's been really big grants and other types of subsidized financing. The thing is that we got $30 million here, and I'm all for it. I don't mean to say that I'm not. The only thing is we got it says, I saw someplace that we were expecting 60% or 40%. And I just wonder, so does that means that we would be on the hook for that other 40% if we get 60%? And 40% of some of these $7 million numbers are in that range. That's really.
Well, again, remember that we're not committing ourselves to any of these. I mean, at some
Yeah.
point, we say, all right, here's the money, here's the potential grant money. Does this fit in with our budget and what we think we're going to have revenue-wise? And so,
How many of these are on your spreadsheet, that original spreadsheet?
I'm sure all of them.
All of them are.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
okay.
And
That was
that's what
a-
we projected
That was
over
a
the next,
beautiful plan.
the next 5 years as well with the rates. These were included in those
Oh,
projections.
they were?
Yeah.
And at some level of subsidy?
At
or just-
40% grant.
At 40% grant,
Yeah.
really, Jason? Wow. Very good. Thank you.
So there is a potential path forward. We don't,
Yeah,
Assuming-
no, I get it.
fingers crossed that, this is going to play out in a way that we can make it work. Do we wanna go through these one by one?
Yeah, I can give a little bit of a
Yeah, please,
synopsis.
yeah.
So Article 2 is the water distribution system improvements, and that includes work on Highland Street, Reservoir Road, and Emerson Street. And this is for water line replacement and rehabilitation. We have our main feed lines that go between our water tank and our wells down here at Foster Street that move the water along Highland Street. And that's what will be rehabbed and replaced under this warrant article. So we do have other funding as well for this warrant article, about $2 million worth of funding through the ARPA program. We have ARPA grants on this, as well as New Hampshire Drinking Water and Groundwater Trust Fund money, a loan and a grant as part of this project. So this is in addition to that original funding piece.
And why is that so important? Why did that section of road get selected?
That got selected through our master plan, so that was a primary and critical roadway. So if something broke there would be high disturbance level within that roadway, and because of the age of the pipe as well as potential lead service lines in that area.
We've also had a number
Yeah.
of breaks on Highland,
Yes.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's more patches than pipe.
right.
Yeah, 15 breaks.
Ooh,
Yeah.
annual?
No.
No,
over the last-
over several years.
We're in trouble if we did.
Probably over the last 30 years, 15
Oh.
breaks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and most recently, several of those have been concentrated down near the Citizens Bank area. We have a section of pipe in there, a couple
Wow.
100 feet long, that has probably close to 10 of those breaks.
Patches, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's our warrant article number 2. Warrant article number 3 is our low service zone water storage tank improvements. And this is our primary tank on Reservoir Road. So our wells, like I said, pump up from Foster Street through Highland Street to Reservoir Road and go into this low storage tank that we have. And this tank is 1970 it was installed, and it is nearing the end of its useful life. We get inspections every 5 years of the interior of the tank, where divers actually go in the tank and inspect the entire perimeter of it. And we've had some interior concrete spalling as well as exterior concrete spalling. So the tank really needs to be rehabbed. But unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism to take the tank offline at this time, because it's our only storage tank for that zone for water distribution. So we essentially have to build another tank next to it just to be able to take it offline and rehab it and keep it up. So we are looking to replace it as well as rehab it under this warrant article. So that we'll have redundancy in the future, that we can take one tank offline and keep one tank live without any disturbance to the customers.
What will that give us for capacity with the two tanks together?
We'd be possibly looking at around 3 million to 3.5 million gallons. And that's part of our master plan as well, anticipating future growth, and fire protection is really driving that storage capacity.
Which really rings true this week, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
With all that's going on in California.
So Foster Street well replacement. This is for our well number 1, which is our primary operating well at Foster Street. That well was installed in 1952 and has operated continuously since then. And this well really needs a rehabilitation because of its shutter screen. It has a bronze shutter screen where the water gets taken in underground, and that bronze shutter screen has deteriorated significantly. Potentially, if it ever collapsed, we would lose that well. So there's no way to, unfortunately, slip line that well. We have contractors that have had success slip lining the well, putting a new screen inside of it. But this well is in a building, underneath the building essentially, and we'd have to tear half the building down to be able to get to it. So we're looking at really setting right outside the building and drilling a new well in that same location. And this will only occur once the new wells in Holderness come online later this summer. So this is something that's been part of the master plan as well, and being planned for, to take this one offline and re-drill it.
If the grate lets go, then all the gravel will flow in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll lose the well essentially.
And the main reason for doing that, even when we're building the Holderness well, is for redundancy. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
That's what I
Yeah, like I said, this well in particular at Foster Street provides us close to 700 gallons per minute, whereas our new wells in Holderness will only provide us about 300 gallons a minute each. So there's a much higher yield at this well on Foster Street than there is on the Holderness well. So it's definitely worthwhile to keep it active.
Even though the quality is a little worse.
Right.
Right.
Yep. So that's article number 4. And then article number 5 is our wastewater master plan. So we've conducted, this is a 3-phase master plan. We've conducted one of the phases so far, which is our wastewater pump stations. We've investigated needs for some of the pump stations out in the system. And then this will be the next phase of the master plan, which will be our main wastewater treatment plant down on South Street in Plymouth, as well as an inflow and infiltration study, which is groundwater and surface water potentially coming into the sewer system. We'll see if there's certain areas of town that have deficient pipe that will need to be replaced. So this is part of that plan, and this master plan will kind of ride on the coattails as well as the water master plan that we currently have in place since 2014. So both of these master plans will drive future decisions for roadway and facility upgrades. So we're looking out, the next 20 to 30 years with this master plan. The next warrant article, number 6, is the wastewater facility electrical and HVAC improvements. So this is at our wastewater plant. We've had several electrical issues over the past 10 years or so that have caused us to really look in to see what we have. We're currently going through the evaluation right now to identify the scope of this project much better, but our engineers felt that this value would provide us with sufficient replacement to upgrade some of our older equipment at the treatment plant. So most of the equipment is from the 1960s to 1990 time period is when a lot of the electrical switchgear has gone in. Over the last few years, we've lost automatic transfer switches. Both automatic transfer switches for emergency power had to be replaced. A lot of the motor starters and switchgear that run all of our equipment, those are obsolete. So we've had to scrounge parts on eBay, parts warehouses or wholesale parts facilities just to be able to replace some of this electric gear. And we've saved as much parts as we have, but we're running out of of parts. And it's critical electric gear to be able to operate the facility. HVAC improvements will be for the main operations building. Currently, there's no AC conditioning, and that's critical for some of our electric equipment because that equipment tends to run in very hot and humid environments, which is not good for it. So we want to be able to condition the space that we install this new equipment in so that it can last much longer, as well as the heating system, providing upgrades on air circulation for the heating system as well. Article number 7 is our wastewater facility solids handling improvements. And this warrant article is driven for improvements needed in dewatering solids and sludge. There are currently impacts potentially with different emerging contaminants that are driving the reduction of solids as much as possible. So right now we make a solid cake, what we call a cake material, and that has 30% solids and 70% water in it. So that 70% water is included in the weight that we have to pay to dispose of the material or recycle the material. And the drier we can get the material, the more beneficial it will become to us, because we will be shipping less water weight and potentially looking at different options or avenues to recycle or dispose of it with the emerging contaminants becoming an issue. So that's driving the price of disposal up as well. Currently we pay about $150 a ton to recycle the material to get the wastewater solids turned into Class A compost with our vendor, and those options are becoming more and more slim, but potentially looking at going to a landfill. And we know landfill space is at a premium as well. So trying to keep our carbon footprint as low as possible, and also put that carbon back into the ground where a lot of this came from. So providing a good carbon source is important to us and beneficially reusing our biosolids. So that is the solids handling improvements. And then Article number 8 is our wastewater headworks and influent pump station improvements. So this is our main facility as soon as all of the wastewater comes into the treatment plant, and we have a mechanical screen at this facility as well as grit removal. And this has become important over the last several years as well, because we have to get rid of grit and dispose of that, similar to the sludge and biosolids at $150 a ton. So we've seen costs increase for that. Maintenance at the facility has increased to be able to remove that grit, and the equipment, some of the equipment is original 1990 plant upgrade, and it's about 30 years old and at the end of its useful life. So this is a very highly corrosive environment. There's been several Band-Aids that have been enacted over the last couple of years to get us by, but this facility really needs to be upgraded in order to provide the protection to the rest of our equipment downstream in the process. So that's the warrant article number 8. We want to open it up for questions.
Oh, the remaining 3 articles are,
Oh, yeah.
are
Housekeeping.
housekeeping, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the main budget.
And the
Unmute to
budget.
see if anybody,
Yeah,
In the main budget.
yeah, I guess,
you may have to unmute, Jason.
You on,
down at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
said mute all again. Has to unmute.
I guess, since, yeah.
Yes, except
Yeah, right,
if he wants to.
right.
See if they have any questions.
Yeah, well, any questions in the audience or here? Okay, no, okay. Right, so he's,
He has to accept unmute.
right, so we're not muting him,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a big pop-up on his screen when that happens, so if he's
Right.
not accepting it, he probably doesn't want to be unmuted,
right.
or he's not there.
So any other questions from board members?
I don't
No.
have any idea.
No, good.
Well, I guess my only question is, once we do all these things, are we done?
Never.
Never.
That's the thing with asset management, it's a continuous cycle of
Yeah,
improvement.
well, we hope the numbers, the projects get smaller,
Right,
at least in the near future after this.
so that's the important piece of recognizing the total value of assets we have within our system and preparing for replacement costs in the future. I think that's, a lot of facilities are facing the same thing, is that they, in the past, they didn't have a good handle on all of the assets they had. They brought these assets online at, close to 90% grant funding and didn't save up over the years
Yeah.
for replacement, so, and once the, things come to roost, and we're faced with larger costs, without, that healthy reserve.
Right.
Okay? Yeah.
I do appreciate all the planning into this. It's a lot.
Do you wanna touch upon the rate sheet, this changes as far as for the rates?
Right,
Between a
yes.
5 to 7% increase
Right.
depending on the users.
And that, these warrant articles were selected too, these projects were selected because they are at the highest priority right now. This is not, something that we're looking to kick the can on in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. This is a, 0 to 5 year program, because of regulations driving some of this, as well as the age of the infrastructure and the need for replacement.
Right,
it's
so,
necessary and inevitable.
right. Well, as, to pay for all of this, and thankfully we have a plan to keep the cost increases under control, we have developed over the past few years a change to our rates and established some rate increases. So for 2025, we do have,
It's between a 5 to 7%.
yeah, right,
increase,
it's between a 5 and 7% increase, both to, well, across to all users, depending on their classification. Are we gonna post this on the
Yeah.
website? Yeah, I think that would be helpful for people to have the sheet that I have in front of me, so you can see.
Yeah, we'll update the rates calculator on there as well.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So in looking at actual dollar amounts, for base rates are going up. Well, for the individual user, it's,
About a $7 increase for their,
right,
Base
7
fee.
to, depending on your meter size, $7 to $12 for the individual homeowner. And it's gonna go up if you have a larger meter, if you're on a commercial connection from there.
That's the water.
Well, for the commercial,
No, that's the water that.
and in the green
that-
section,
Right, right,
it's
that's
about a
the water,
$10
yes.
increase for most residential for the sewer.
right. Yeah, so about $20 to $25 for a lot of the residential users total. Questions on rate increases?
We're in line with our plan that was recommended to us, right, by, I forget his name, but.
Dave from
David
Raftellus.
Fox.
Yeah.
Raft-
Yes,
Tellus, yeah.
Dave Fox, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, so this is like Kim said, a 5 to 7% increase, which is their recommendation.
And we're hoping to hold it about that level of increase for the next couple of years.
Correct.
So this is trying to keep this on a relatively stable level of increase, unlike some points in the past where we've waited too long and then had a large jump in rates. Well, in the absence of any questions, we can close the hearing.
Yep.
At 5:32. Go on to other business. We have a contract for our audits for Plosnick and Sanderson
For the next 3 years.
for the next, for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So this, I guess, requires a motion to have me approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Assume there are no questions on this. We're gonna stay with, the feeling was to stay with Plosnick and Sanderson. We have just wrapped up the
23,
2023 audit.
both the single audit and the regular audit.
Right.
No
And we're-
deficiencies, everything seems to be in line, and they,
It's great.
Yep.
Nice work.
thank you.
Some different than years gone by. Thank you.
Team effort kept it very organized.
Yes.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all the policies are in place as well, so the auditors really like that we've tackled all of those over the last few years and makes things go much smoother.
This is not the federal, this separate, they do
They
both?
wrapped up the federal last Thursday,
Okay,
yep, and everything is on par. And
okay,
so we still are going to have some federal because we spent a lot of that federal money in
Right.
2024. So that's one of the reasons why we don't really wanna change horses
Right,
midstream. We
okay.
wanna stay with
Yes.
Closet.
Yep.
They have all the templates to just fill in the things, and so we're doing.
because of the size of the different projects, we had to go through 2 audits, one for federal, one for our regular state.
Yep.
So,
Any other new business? If not, we'll go on to old business, authority to submit funding application.
So this again is kind of a housekeeping item. You actually did the paperwork to go after some of the grant funding back in 2022. But now that it's moving forward with an application, we just need to certify that we took care of that vote. So
Okay.
tonight, we need Stephanie and Tom to vote, for you to sign, Jason to sign, and myself to sign.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All those in favor there?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we also have special project assistance supplemental form.
Which is
Oh, that's
underneath
the
that one,
underneath,
so
right,
it's, that one is just for you to sign, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
So motion there, please, for me to sign this, this is for the Drinking Water and Groundwater Trust Fund.
Yep, you gonna make it? Yep, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any other old business? Business administrator, fourth quarter water and sewer warrants.
So in front of you, you have a comparison from 23 to
Ah, yes, right,
24,
right.
showing that you did well, and underneath, you'll have to sign the warrant for the December billing.
Right,
Yep.
Can we get a couple of test kits?
Yeah.
I'll swoop down.
But overall revenue was up about 415,000, which was helpful to take care of our new debt service that came online for 2024.
right, a slight increase in gallonage, but,
Slight, yep.
yep,
Yeah, we were right on target on water. So our budget, if you recall, was 1.684 million, and we generated 1.688 million in revenue this year with water. And sewer, we generated 2,070,000, and our sewer budget was 2,227,000. So that was slightly under our sewer budget, but we planned for the offsetting that shortfall with septage revenue. So about $157,000 in septage revenue offset the budget this
And
past year.
septage revenues when people bring in
The
trucks and
the
they,
haulers,
Yep.
they,
yep.
The
they
haulers,
dump,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Yep.
Just wanted to make sure everybody else knew what that was.
So, yeah, similar to, using fund balance, but we're using septage revenue to offset
Okay.
the rate.
so motion to accept the fourth quarter water and sewer warrant.
So moved?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that 400,000 rate increase shows right up there, that's great.
So again, we just wanna put the important dates that are coming up.
Yes,
Yep, so from January 22nd to January 31st, candidates can file for the open seat. There's one open seat for a commissioner for a 3-year term. March 11th is voting day, and March 13th would be our annual meeting here at 6 PM.
signatures there. So on to Director of Operation reports.
So I just wanted to announce that we received a notification over the last week that we have been granted a water sustainability grant in the amount of $30,000. We have $15,000 match on that grant, so it's a 50%, which is budgeted in the operations budget this year. And that is to do the preliminary engineering on our low pressure zone tank replacement, our warrant article. We've also received notice that we have
Number 3, right?
been awarded the local source water protection grant as well this year in the amount of $25,000. And that will offset some of the costs for installing fencing and security at the Foster Street well project.
That's great.
We have also met within the last week with Plymouth Area Renewable Energy Initiative to work on our photovoltaic project. We surveyed all of the facilities where we'll be looking to install solar panels, and they're gonna finalize the project scope, and we can apply for the final application for that grant funding to DES. So that will keep moving forward this spring. We'll hopefully have that final award in the May timeframe, and we'll be able to move forward with that project. Force Main number 4 project over here along the Baker River is about 90% design right now, and that's gone to DES for review. We're working with some tree clearers to be able to clear the trees before the April deadline because of the bats. So that's moving forward. The pump station number 1 across the street here, we're working on the basket and hoist replacement. We received notification today that the hoist manufacturer has been delayed a little bit, but they're hoping to get it shipped sometime next week. So we anticipate within the next month we'll have the contractor on site there. And then we also received a connection application and a mainline extension application from Home 2 Suites, which is a hotel that will be, is proposed to be constructed on Riverside Landing out off of Tenny Mountain Highway. So we've begun our review on that permit as well as the mainline extension, and we've also brought Wright Pearson to that for the third-party review for the engineering.
Is that the new spot that they've been clearing up there behind
Yes,
like
yep.
Bank of New Hampshire?
Mhm.
Another hotel. Oh,
So we'll keep you posted on that.
Very good. So next up, purchase recs. I'll go through these briefly, then we'll motion to accept them. We have Hack Company, $70.83. Casella Waste Systems, summation,
Actually, the original, probably, you go back one, see it, the original,
oh, right, 15,637.86, yep. Okay, malt sales, $461.44, FW Web, $356.32. Electrical installations, EII, it's $650. Air gas, $334.74.
it's Hampshire purified water.
Oh, right. So that would be $382. Next up is ERA for $339. That's for, looks like lab and chemical related. NCL of Wisconsin, also lab materials, $805. And then TMDE calibration labs for calibration, annual, That's $985, total $4,384.03. Do I have a motion to enter those into the,
I make that
Record.
motion, yep.
Second?
all those in favor there?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. We're up
Hey,
to,
Marion, keep pointing to drop.
yes, Dan?
Is a commissioner seat that's open in January, as a result of a commissioner wanting to step down, or is it through, the seat is up for reelection?
Well, Stephanie was appointed midterm, so the normal term comes up, so that seat would
Be open.
be open by convention or by
By-election.
election, right?
Okay, thanks. My second question was, who is that person? Thanks for answering.
You're welcome. Anything else? Oh, yeah, Katie?
The only thing, I think I found out about what was in the hearing on the town website. And so some of this information in the weekly newsletter for the town is probably also helpful because a lot of people get that. And anybody can add through the selectmen's, they send out a weekly newsletter.
Yeah, that's a good point, yes.
And I think you were on the calendar, because that's why since I retired, and now I'm not, I was actually elected, I have some time, and I've been filling up my calendar with meetings, and there are a lot on the calendar, plus I probably came here, but it's not just for the specific town departments, I mean, you're a separate entity, but I think you can still put information for townspeople
Oh,
on
that's a good
their
point.
website.
Yeah. Yes.
We have used that.
And I may, and
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say.
I've seen some of your and I don't know if that's where I saw what was in this hearing or not, but, a lot of people get it.
Yep, that's a good point.
Keep that in mind.
Yep.
Thank you.
So with that, next meeting is February 11th, 5 o'clock, and did we forget the MS 636?
No, we just need signatures on
Oh,
those
yes,
for the
right.
DRA forms at
Right.
the end. I just put it at the end so that we weren't holding people up while you
Oh,
guys were
okay,
doing
yeah.
lots of signatures.
Right,
And if
Okay.
anybody
Sign
has
all of
clean
them. Here you
copies
go
of the
first.
warrant,
Sign
you
all
need
of
to
them?
sign
Okay.
these as well.
I wrote on mine. I didn't.
Say,
If you didn't, we'll leave at
that
least the
court-
last page.
that-
If you wrote on the other pages, we can always.
mediator case, what's going on with that? Because they got a new date, the mediator for PSC.
oh,
They have not come up
They-
with a
yeah,
new
right.
date yet.
There's no
Received
date.
anything, no?
No,
How many do you need?
we need at least 4 copies, but we, as long as we have several, we can make,
I wrote on mine,
that's okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. Did you write on the last page? Because we could use the last pages if you didn't.
There was one that Tom gave me.
Thank you,
Yeah, I did.
that's fine. We can make
all right,
copies.
there you go,
We'll
there's,
always have some regular signatures.
You got all these.
Original signatures.
And I've signed everything I need to sign.
Me too. So we need 3 copies of that or 4?
4, but I can make a copy
Do
of
an
it.
extra, yeah.
We'll be fine. Do you want to adjourn yet, Chris? or you-
oh, right, yes, yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Got caught up in my signatures, yeah. I think next meeting's February 11th, yeah, it's 5:45. We'll adjourn for today.